The locker room smelled like sweat and regret, the kind that clung to your skin long after the game was over. Daniel slammed his fist against the cold metal door, his knuckles splitting open as the echo bounced off the tiled walls like a gunshot. "You're one of them, aren't you? Fucking fairy." The words weren't just spit, they were venom, hurled by Jake Harlan, the quarterback whose broad shoulders blocked the only exit, his buddies snickering behind him like hyenas in Letterman jackets. Daniel's heart hammered in his chest, a wild drumbeat drowning out the fluorescent hum overhead. He was 16, skinny as a reed from too many skipped meals and nights staring at the ceiling in his family's cramped trailer on the edge of Elmwood, Ohio. Elmwood High wasn't just a school. It was a pressure cooker for kids like him. Small-town dreams crushed under the weight of Friday night lights and unspoken rules. He'd hidden it all year. The way his eyes lingered on the curve of a boy's jaw in the hallway, the stolen glances at the swim team posters plastered in the gym. But today, during P, Jake had caught him staring. Not at the girls in their shorts, but at Matt, the quiet artist kid with ink-stained fingers and a laugh that cut through the noise like sunlight. Now, here they were. Jake's meaty hand clamped down on Daniel's shoulder, shoving him back against the lockers with a clang that rattled his teeth. "Say it, Danny boy. Admit you're a queer, and maybe we won't beat the shit out of you." The circle tightened. 4 of them, all seniors, all built like they lived for the gridiron. Daniel's vision blurred, not from tears but from the panic rising like bile. He thought of his mom, chain-smoking Virginia Slims in the kitchen, whispering prayers for a son who could just be normal. He thought of the shotgun in the hall closet, the one his stepdad kept loaded for varmints. But mostly, he thought of Matt, sketching in the back of English class, oblivious to the storm brewing. I don't," Daniel stammered, but Jake's knee drove into his gut, folding him in half. Air whooshed out, and the world tilted. Fists followed, dull thuds against his ribs, a boot to his thigh that sent fire lancing up his leg. He curled into a ball, tasting copper on his tongue, the laughter morphing into a roar. Somewhere distant, a door creaked, but it was too late. They dragged him then, half-conscious, through the side exit into the maintenance shed behind the field house. The air turned musty, thick with oil and rust. They zip-tied his wrists to a pipe, the plastic biting deep, and stuffed a rag in his mouth that tasted like motor grease. "Stay put, princess," Jake sneered, wiping Daniel's blood, from his knuckles onto his jeans. "Coach'll find you Monday. Gives you time to pray the gay away." The door slammed shut, the padlock clicking like a judge's gavel. Darkness swallowed them whole. Hours blurred into a haze. Daniel's arms screamed from the strain, his bladder a hot coal he couldn't release. He pissed himself eventually, the warmth turning cold and shameful against his skin. Flashes of memory played on the grimy walls. His first crush on a boy at summer camp, the way he'd run from it, the Bible study group at church, where Pastor Reynolds thundered about Sodom and fire. Elmwood wasn't San Francisco. It was cornfields and conservatism, where faggot was currency in the boys' bathroom. By dawn, thirst clawed at his throat, and delirium set in. He imagined Matt finding him, those gentle hands untying the bonds. A whispered, "It's okay," but it was her who came. Ms. Eleanor Hayes, the ancient history teacher with cat-eye glasses and a perm that defied gravity. She was the school librarian in all but name, the one who slipped dog-eared paperbacks to kids like him, stories of outcasts who found their way. She'd seen him in the stacks, devouring Vonnegut and Kerouac, eyes hungry for worlds beyond Ohio. That afternoon, during her errand to the shed for old projectors, she heard the muffled groans. The lock jiggled. Light pierced the gloom like a blade. "Lord have mercy," she gasped, her voice a threadbare quilt of southern drawl left over from her Georgia roots. She dropped to her knees, arthritic hands fumbling with the ties. "Daniel? Oh, child, what have they done?" He spat out the rag, choking on sobs. "Ms. Hayes, please, don't tell." Her eyes, sharp behind the lenses, scanned the damage, bruises blooming purple, the wet stain on his jeans. No judgment, just a fierce, maternal fire. "Ain't nobody locking you up like an animal for loving who you love." "Not on my watch." She rummaged in her purse, pulling out a Swiss Army knife, the blade glinting as she sawed through the plastic. Minutes later, he was free, collapsing into her arms, the scent of lavender talc and menthols wrapping around him like armor. She didn't call the cops, knew they'd side with the Golden Boys, chalk it up to boys being boys. Instead, she drove him to her bungalow on Maple Street, a shotgun house crammed with books and porcelain cats. There, in the clawfoot tub, she ran water hot as he could stand, adding Epsom salts while he soaked away the filth. "My nephew was like you," she murmured, handing him a towel monogrammed EH. "Back in '72. Atlanta. They ran him out of town. But he found his people in the Castro. Danced through the plague like a goddamn phoenix." Her voice cracked, but her chin lifted. "You will too, sugar. But first, we get you gone." By nightfall, she'd packed him a duffel, clothes from her late husband's closet, baggy but clean, a wad of 20s from her widow's pension, and a Greyhound ticket to Chicago. "Bigger pond, fewer sharks," she said, pressing a locket into his palm, her nephew's, engraved with Rise. "Head north. Find the lake. And Daniel, don't look back till you're ready." He hugged her then, fierce and wordless, the first real embrace he'd known since childhood. The bus station was a ghost town at midnight, fluorescent lights buzzing over cracked linoleum. As the diesel engine growled to life, Daniel pressed his face to the window, watching Elmwood's lights fade like dying embers. Ms. Hayes stood on the curb, small and unyielding, until the curve swallowed her whole. Chicago hit like a fever dream, neon signs bleeding into rain-slick streets, the L train rattling overhead like God's own migraine. Daniel crashed in a flophouse off Halsted, the kind where roaches hosted parties and the walls whispered secrets. He lied about his age for a busboy gig at a diner called the Windy Spoon, scrubbing grease till his hands cracked, pocketing tips for rent. Nights, he wandered Boys Town, pulse quickening at the sight of men holding hands under street lamps, laughter spilling from bars with rainbow flags snapping in the wind. That's where he met Matthew. It was a Tuesday, sticky July heat pressing down like a lover's palm. Daniel ducked into Sidetrack for a Coke. Underage, but the bartender winked, and there was Matt, perched on a stool, sketching the crowd on a napkin. Not his Matt from Elmwood, but a new one, 22, with tousled chestnut hair and hazel eyes that held stories of their own. A barista by day, poet by night, Matt had that effortless cool faded band tee, silver hoop in one ear, tattoos snaking up his forearms like vines. "You draw like you're stealing souls," Daniel said, sliding onto the stool beside him, voice rough from disuse. Matt glanced up, grin crooked. "And you look like you need one returned." He tore off the napkin sketch, a caricature of Daniel, fierce and unbroken, and slid it over. "Matthew. But call me Matt." "What's your poison?" "Daniel." "And escape." They talked till closing, Matt's words weaving spells. Tales of open mics in Wicker Park, the thrill of pride parades where the city pulsed alive. Daniel spilled fragments. Ohio, the shed, the woman with the knife, omitting names, but Matt listened like he was etching it into stone. When the lights flickered on, Matt walked him home, their shoulders brushing accidental on purpose. At the flophouse door, a hesitation, then Matt's hand on his cheek, thumb tracing the scar from Jake's ring. "You're safe here," he whispered, and kissed him, soft, exploratory, tasting of whiskey and promise. It was the first kiss that didn't feel like drowning. Weeks turned to months, their rhythm syncing like a heartbeat. Matt's apartment above a bookstore became home. Sagging couch piled with zines, windowsill herbs thriving under his care. Daniel enrolled in community college, GD in hand, chasing a degree in social work, to help kids like me, he'd say. They cooked spaghetti with Jared sauce, argued over Springsteen verses. The Replacements made love in the afternoons with sunlight slanting gold across tangled sheets. Matt's touch was reverent, mapping bruises long faded, whispering beautiful like a prayer. But shadows lingered. Nightmares yanked Daniel awake, sweat-soaked, Jake's face morphing into his stepdad's. Matt held him through it, humming folk tunes till dawn. "You're not that boy anymore," he'd murmur. "You're mine," yet doubt gnawed. What if Elmwood called? What if MS? Hayes worried. Letters came sporadic, postcards from her. Cryptic. Roses blooming. Stay wild. Daniel burned them after reading, afraid of the pullback south. One crisp October eve, as leaves cartwheeled down Belmont Avenue, Matt proposed a road trip. "Let's chase the colors," he said, packing the VW Bug with flannel and thermoses. They drove east, through Indiana's flatlands, into Ohio's embrace. Daniel's stomach nodded at the "Welcome to Buckeye State" sign, but Matt's hand on his thigh steadied the wheel. They stopped in Columbus for falafel, Matt teasing about Buckeyes tasting like regret. Laughter eased the tension, but as they crested the hill toward Elmwood, Daniel's breath hitched. The high school loomed, red brick sentinel, football field scarred from Friday wars. "Pull over," he rasped. Matt did, engine idling. "You okay?" "Not yet." But soon. They camped that night in a state park, stars pricking the velvet sky. Under the tense nylon roof, bodies entwined, Daniel confessed the full story, names, faces, the locket heavy in his pocket. Matt listened, then traced the locket's chain. "She's a hero. You're the survivor. And when you're ready, we'll go back together." Fall deepened, painting Elmwood in russet and gold, but Daniel's resolve hardened like frost on the windshield. Back in Chicago, life resumed its groove. Shifts at the diner bleeding into Matt's poetry slams, their bed a sanctuary of whispered vulnerabilities. Daniel aced his midterms, the classroom a battlefield he finally won. Professors nodding at his essays on queer history Stonewall. Act Up, the unsung foot soldiers. Matt read them aloud over coffee, voice rich with pride. "You're gonna change the world, babe." But change came sly, in envelopes postmarked Ohio. The first was innocuous, a thank you note from Ms. Hayes, her script looping like kudzu. Heard you're studying. Proud as punch. School's the same old circus. Tucked inside. A clipping from the Elmwood Gazette. Local hero coach Harlan retires after 30 years. Jake's dad. The architect of so many silences. Daniel crumpled it, but the paper cut deep. Then came the call. November wind howled outside their window as the rotary phone jangled. Matt's landline. Relic from his grandma. Daniel snatched it, expecting a wrong number. Hello, Daniel? That you? Han, Ms. Hayes. Voice thinner than he remembered, laced with phlegm. Ms. Hayes, God. It's shoo. No time for holy rollers. Listen, they got wind of you thriving up there. Jake's back in town, sniffing around like a coonhound. Says he wants to make amends. Bull feathers. And the principal, that weasel Fitch, he's digging into old records, talking incident reports. Your name's in M. Buried but breathing. Daniel's grip whitened on the receiver. Why now, after all this, cause success scares small men. You're proof they can't chain us forever. But Daniel, I'm not long for this world. Emphysema's got me coughing up chapters. Before I go, promise me, face it. Go back. Burn the ghosts. He promised. Throat tight. Hung up. He found Matt in the kitchen, stirring oatmeal with that worried furrow between his brows. Ohio calling? Haunting. More like. Daniel sank into a chair, the locket cool against his chest. Jake, the one who. He knows I'm out. Wants to talk. Matt set down the spoon, knelt before him. Then we go. Together. But on your terms. The drive south was a descent into memory's maw. They left post-Thanksgiving, Chicago's gray slush yielding to Ohio's brittle chill. Matt drove, mixtape crooning Indigo Girls, his free hand laced with Daniel's. Billboards for Jesus Saves flanked the interstate, a reminder of the stakes. As Elmwood's water tower pierced the horizon, painted with a bucking bronco, faded to pink, Daniel's pulse thrummed like a war drum. They checked into the Elmwood Inn, a Victorian relic with lace curtains and creaky floors. Over diner pie that night, Daniel mapped the plan, visit Ms. Hayes first, then the school. Confrontation last. Matt nodded, eyes steady. I'm your anchor, Dan. Not your shadow, Ms. Hayes's bungalow hadn't changed. Porch light haloed by moths. The air inside thick with Vicks VapoRub and vanilla candles. She answered the door in a housecoat printed with cardinals. Oxygen tank hissing like a loyal snake. My boy, she breathed, pulling him into a hug that smelled of home. Matt hung back, offering a shy handshake, but she waved him in. Any friend of Daniel's is family. Tea, over chipped china cups. Stories flowed. Her nephew's letters from San Francisco, the AIDS quilt she'd sewn a panel for. He'd have loved you too, fierce hearts. Then, quieter. The shed's gone, torn down for a parking lot. But the hurt? That's brick and mortar now. She pressed a key into Daniel's palm. To her house. Her legacy. When I'm dust, this is yours. Plant roots or burn it down. Tears stung, but Daniel swallowed them. I came to thank you. For everything. She winked. Frail but wicked. Thank me by living loud. The school was next. A Monday morning assault. Elmwood High buzzed with post-holiday energy, lockers slamming, cheers echoing from the gym. Daniel's loafers echoed on the linoleum, Matt a step behind, hand brushing his for courage. Whispers trailed them like smoke. "Who's that? Looks familiar." At the office, Principal Fitch, balding now, Ty Askew, blinked owlishly. "Mr. Whitaker, you've grown." Daniel Whitaker. Yes, he didn't flinch. "Here to update my transcript. And maybe chat about that disappearance in '98. Fitch's smile was oil-slick. "Ancient history. We prefer to focus forward." But forward led to the past. Jake Harlan waited in the parking lot after, leaning against a Ford F-150, gut spilling over his belt, but the eyes, Predator's eyes, unchanged. "Danny. Heard you made it big. Queer and proud." "Ha!" Daniel's fists clenched, but Matt's presence grounded him. "It's Daniel. And yeah. What do you want?" "Jake?" A shrug. Feigned casual. "Closure. Man. I was a kid. Dumb jock shit. Let me buy you a beer. Bury the hatchet." The bar was O'Malley's. Elmwood's dive of choice, neon Coors signs. Jukebox crooning Merle Haggard. Jake ordered pitchers, his laugh booming false. Stories tumbled. College football bust. Knee injury. Now selling real estate to his daddy's old cronies. "But you? Chicago? Sounds fancy." His gaze flicked to Matt. Praising. "Brought the boyfriend." "Cute." Matt bristled, but Daniel squeezed his knee under the table. "Why'd you do it? Lock me up like that?" Jake drained his glass, foam clinging to his mustache. "Fear, I guess. Dad preached fire and brimstone. Thought it'd make a man out of you. Or me." A pause. Eyes downcast. "Sorry. Okay. Water under the bridge. It wasn't." Daniel saw the lie in the averted gaze, the way Jake's fingers drummed like they itched for a fight. But he nodded, clinked glasses. "Bridge burned. But I'll take the apology." They left Jake to his suds, the night air crisp with wood smoke. In the inn's brass bed, Matt traced the tension from Daniel's shoulders. "You were steel in there. With you. I am." Their kiss deepened, bodies aligning in the lamplight, slow, urgent, a reclamation. Matt's mouth on his collarbone, hands mapping scars turned stories. "I love you," Daniel gasped, the words a key turning in a long-locked door. "I know," Matt whispered, entering him with care, their rhythm a tide pulling them under. Dawn brought normalcy. Breakfast at the Spoon. Ms. Hayes joining for eggs over easy. She grilled Matt on his poems, declaring one pure gold. Laughter filled the cracks, but under it, unease stirred. Jake's closure felt like a hook, baited and waiting. Back in Chicago, the holidays blurred, eggnog toasts. Matt's family in Evanston welcoming Daniel with awkward hugs and furtive glances. But letters escalated. Jake's scrawled notes. "Missed you at the game. Come home for real." Then, a package, the locket, mailed anonymous. Chain snapped. Daniel's blood ran cold. "He's playing games." Matt paced the rug. "Block him. We're done with Ohio." But Ms. Hayes called again, February's chill in her cough. "He's stirring shit. Hon. Told the paper you're returning to make amends." Fitch is panicking, afraid of lawsuits. "Stay away till I handle it." Too late. A week later, The Gazette hit, "Prodigal son returns. Local gay activist forgives bullies?" Jake's photo beamed beside it, arm around his wife and kids. Daniel's old yearbook pic, awkward and innocent. Rage boiled. He twisted it. "Made me the villain returning for revenge." Matt pulled him close. "Or the hero. Use it." The article went viral in small circles, core forums buzzing. A podcaster from Cleveland Mang for an interview. Daniel's inbox flooded. Support from strangers. Hate from trolls. But one email stopped him cold. From Matt's ex, Riley, a graphic designer in Boys Town. Saw the story. Matt's been distant. Mentioned Ohio. Be careful, he's got ghosts too. Daniel confronted him that night. Over takeout low main gone cold. Riley? You never said. Matt's face crumpled. Ancient history. We crashed after his sister's overdose. I bailed, ran to poetry. To you. But yeah, I ghosted. Hard. Like Jake ghosted his hate? A nod. Eyes wet. I'm sorry. For not telling. The fight simmered. Words like embers. They made up in the dark. Forgiveness forged in touches, fierce, then tender. But the seed of doubt sprouted, whispering of betrayals yet to come. Spring thawed Chicago, tulips pushing through concrete. Daniel threw himself into advocacy. A panel at his college on bullying. His voice steady as he recounted the shed, the escape. Applause thundered. Matt in the front row, eyes shining. You're unstoppable, he said after, kissing him in the hallway, heedless of stares. MS. Hayes's health waned, calls grew rare. Writing my will, she rasped once. You're the executor, sugar. Come see me soon. They planned the trip for summer, but fate accelerated. June's heat wave brought the news. Eleanor Hayes, beloved educator, passes peacefully. The obit listed no survivors, but Daniel knew better. The funeral was a Thursday. Methodist church packed with former students. Gruff farmers dabbing eyes. Teachers in black dresses. Daniel sat front row. Matt's hand in his, the locket now a chain around his neck. Pastor Reynolds, older, softer, eulogized her as a light in dark times. No mention of the shadows she'd banished. After, in the receiving line, Jake appeared, suit ill-fitting, condolences hollow. Tough break. She was something. His eyes lingered on their joined hands. Still playing house? Daniel's jaw set. Still pretending you're straight? A flush crept up Jake's neck. Watch it, Whitaker. Town's talking. Let them. The wake at her bungalow was intimate. Potluck casseroles. Her books open like invitations. Daniel slipped away to her study, finding the will on the desk. The house to him, with a codicil. Bury no more. Rise. Outside, under the magnolia, Matt found him. Ready to claim it? Not yet, but the pull strengthened. Tide turning. July scorched Elmwood, humidity wrapping the town like a damp flannel. Daniel and Matt arrived with a U-Haul rattling behind the bug. Boxes of their life crammed in. Vinyl records, Matt's sketchpads, Daniel's advocacy binders. The bungalow welcomed them. Dust motes dancing in sunbeams. Eleanor's cats, 2 tabbies. Now there's twining legs with imperious meows. Feels like stepping into a hug, Matt said, unpacking teacups while Daniel sorted mail. Condolence cards, a deed transfer, and inevitably Jake's card. Stop by the office. Unfinished business. Daniel tossed it. Let it rot. But rot festered. Their first week blurred into routine. Daniel job hunting at the community center. Matt freelancing logos from the porch swing. Evenings, they grilled burgers. Fireflies winking approval. Sex was rediscovery. On the kitchen table amid flour from pie attempts. Slow and deep under ceiling fans. This is us, Matt murmured once, tracing Daniel's spine. Roots and wings, yet whispers infiltrated. At the IGA, cashiers side-eyed. That's the boy from the paper. Kids on bikes slowed, pointing. One night, eggs splattered the front door. Prank or warning? Daniel cleaned at dawn. Jaw tight. Small town welcome. Matt hugged him from behind. We don't stay forever. Just heal. Healing cracked open at the center gig. Youth counselor. Part-time. Leading groups on identity and resilience. His first session. 10 teens slouched in folding chairs. Goths. Jocks. The invisible ones. Ever feel like you don't fit? He asked. Stories spilled. Slurs in locker rooms. Parents' prayers. One boy, skinny with braces, echo of young Daniel, mumbled, They call me it. You are you, Daniel said. Voice steel. And that's enough. After, the kid lingered. Heard about the shed. You're brave. Brave felt fragile when Jake cornered him at the gas station. Pump clicking as he filled the tank. Counseling queers now? Noble. Daniel capped the nozzle. Better than burying them. Jake's laugh barked. Burying? Like your lady friend? Heard she offed herself. Too much guilt over helping a runaway. The lie hit like a sucker punch. She died of emphysema. You prick. From years of chain smoking to cope with assholes like you. A shrug. Town says different. Says she was depressed. Your fault for dragging her into it. Daniel lunged. But Jake sidestepped. Grinning. Easy. Tiger. Wouldn't want another incident. He drove home shaking. Matt waiting with iced tea. That fucker. Daniel spat. Recounting. Matt's face darkened. Confront him. End it. The end brewed at O'Malley's again, neutral ground. Jake's idea via text. Matt insisted on coming. Backup. Not babysitter. The bar hummed low. Locals nursing drafts. Jake sat solo. Sleeves rolled. Tattoos faded from glory days. Gents. Beers. Talk, Daniel said, sliding in. Matt flanked him. Silent sentinel. Jake leaned forward. Elbows on scarred oak. Look, Daniel. I was wrong. Back then. Dad's belt. Church guilt. I lashed out. But seeing you now, happy, it eats me. His voice cracked. Genuine? Wife left last year. Kids barely talk. Turns out, suppressing shit turns you inside out. Daniel searched his face. Crags of regret. Eyes bloodshot. Apology accepted. But trust? Earn it. A nod. Fair. Let me help donate to your group. Harlan Realty check. Matt's brow arched. Why the sudden saint act? Jake's gaze flicked away. 'Cause I ain't one. But maybe I can pretend. They left uneasy allies. Jake's check cashed for art supplies at the center. Teens lit up, sketching futures unmarred. Daniel softened. Glimpses of the boy Jake might have been. Redemption's possible. He told Matt over porch wine. Crickets chorusing. Or manipulation. Matt's cynicism, born of Riley's wreckage, lingered. August brought heat lightning, storms rumbling like unspoken fears. Daniel's group thrived, a mural project on the community wall, rainbows woven with buckeyes. But one evening, as thunder rolled, the doorbell chimed. Jake, soaked, bottle in hand. Storm blew me here. Mind, against Matt's frown, Daniel let him in. Whiskey burned neat, story sloshing, Jake's closeted fumblings in college, a teammate's kiss under bleachers, buried deep. I hated you 'cause I saw myself, he confessed, voice slurred. That fear? It's acid. Matt excused himself to bed, tension thick. Alone. Jake's hand grazed Daniel's knee. Accidental? You're good, man. Too good. Daniel pulled back. Go home. Jake. He did, stumbling into rain. But seeds sown. Matt woke feral next morning, eyes storm gray. He touched you. A brush. Nothing. Nothing? After everything. Hurt cracked through anger. You see good in him. What about me? Daniel reached, but Matt flinched. I bailed on Riley like Jake bails on truth. Am I next? The small-town savior? No. But the door slammed. Matt grabbing keys. Need air. Hours stretched. Phone silent. Daniel paced. Eleanor's locket a talisman. When Matt returned, dusk bruising the sky, he carried takeout, forgiveness in foil. Sorry. Insecure bullshit. They ate on the floor, knees touching. You're my everything, Daniel said. Talk turned intimate. Confessions deepening. Matt's fear of commitment, Daniel's terror of abandonment. In bed, they reclaimed Matt topping, thrusts deliberate, eyes locked. Mine, he growled, and Daniel arched, shattering with yours. September cooled, leaves turning traders red. The center's mural unveiling drew a crowd. Mayor, Fitch, even Pastor Reynolds. Jake donated again. Photo op grin. Daniel spoke. This wall? It's us scars and stars. Applause swelled. But in the throng, Riley appeared, Matt's ex. Leaner, eyes haunted. Surprise visit, he said, hugging Matt too long. Dinner that night at the bungalow turned three-way tense. Riley, crashing on their couch just tonight, spun tales of New York gigs, glances at Matt laced with old fire. Daniel excused to the kitchen, heart pounding. Through the door crack, Riley's hand on Matt's arm, laughter intimate. Betrayal's knife twisted, not action, but the echo of possibility. Bed felt vast. Matt's snores absent. Dawn. Daniel found him on the porch. Riley gone. Coffee? Yeah. Silence brewed. He texted. Wanted closure. I said no. But you wanted to. Matt sighed. Once. Not now. You? Never. But doubt festered. A canker. The betrayal crested mid-month. Daniel's phone buzzed during a session. Anonymous text. Photo of Matt and Riley at a Chicago bar last spring. Arms slung. Lips close. Caption. While you healed, he healed elsewhere. World tilted. He drove home, storming in. Explain. Matt paled. Scrolling. Photoshopped. Riley's game jealous of us. Prove it. A call to Riley. Voicemail. Evasive. Then Jake. At the door hours later. eyes wide. Saw the pic circulating. It's fake. My buddy at the paper confirmed. But Matt. He met Riley in Chicago. Prius solidifying. Cleared air. Nothing more. Daniel deflated. Why tell me? 'Cause I owe you truth. Jake's hand on his shoulder, brotherly now. Don't let poison win. Matt returned contrite. Alibis airtight. They cried. Forgave. Made love like mending a slow suture. But the scar puckered. Trust frayed. October's chill deepened rifts. Center kids noticed Daniel's distraction. One session, the braces boy asked, "You okay, mister?" Dan? Fine. Kid. Lie tasted bitter. Election night. Trump banners flapping. They watched returns at O'Malley's, neutral again. Jake bought rounds. Talk turning political venom. Fags like you ruined it. A drunk slurred. But Jake shut him down. Sit, Earl. Times change. Outside. Under harvest moon. Jake pulled Daniel aside. Proud of you. For real. Then. Impulsive. A hug. Bodies aligning too close. Jake's breath hot on his neck. Wish I'd known you then. Daniel stepped back. Heart stutter. You did. And it broke us. Home. Confession tumbled. Matt listened. Fury flashing. He wants you. Classic bully crush. No. But the hug lingered. A ghost touch. Fights escalated, small at first. Then seismic. Matt accused projection. Daniel. Naivety. You're seeing redemption where there's rot. And you're seeing betrayal in every shadow. One night, Matt packed a bag. Need space. Chicago calls. Don't. Daniel blocked the door. Tears hot. We fight together. A pause. Bag dropping. They collided, furious kiss. Clothes shedding in the hall. Sex was war. Bites. Scratches. Release raw. After. Entwined. Matt whispered. I can't lose you. You won't. But loss loomed. November's Eve. A call from Fitch. Emergency board meeting. Complaints about your agenda at the center. Jake's pushing for review. Betrayal crystallized. Jake, the ally stoking fires. Daniel confronted him at dawn. Harlan Realty empty but for coffee dregs. You set me up? Jake's face crumpled. No, I defended you. But Dad's old cronies. They hate change. I tried. Liar. Fist connected. Jake's jaw. A crack like thunder. Blood welled. But Jake didn't swing. Get out, he mumbled. Ice packing swelling. Daniel fled to the school. Empty halls echoing. In the gym, under championship banners, he sank to bleachers, sobs racking. Matt found him there. Text from Jake. Anonymous amends. Babe. They drove to the lake. Huron's waves lashing gray shores. We leave, Daniel said. Tomorrow. Matt nodded. Together. But together fractured that night. Back home. Jake waited bruised. Bottle in hand. One last talk. Matt bristled. But Daniel waved him in. Whiskey loosened tongues. Jake's confession full. Closeted still. Married misery. Daniel the what-if haunting decades. I locked you to lock me in. Pity stirred. But Matt exploded. You used him. The check. The hugs. Grooming redemption. Jake rose. Swaying. Jealous. Pretty boy. He needs a man. Not a poet. Fists flew. Matt's hook glancing Jake's ribs. Jake's shove sending Matt sprawling. Daniel intervened, shoving Jake out. Enough! Door locked. Matt bled from a split lip. See? Monsters don't change. Daniel bandaged, guilt heavy. My fault for believing. Dawn broke bitter. They packed silent, cats meowing protest. At the U-Haul hitch, an envelope on the porch, Jake's suicide note, no keys to the bungalow, scrawled, yours. I'm sorry. For all. Relief warred with sorrow. They drove north, Ohio receding, Chicago's skyline a beacon. But in the rear view, Daniel glimpsed the boy he'd been, chained, but unchained now. Winter gripped Chicago like a grudge. Snowplows growling through the night as Daniel and Matt settled back into the apartment above the bookstore. The cats adapted quick, claiming the windowsills, batting at steam from radiators, but the men moved like ghosts. Conversations clipped, touches tentative. Daniel threw himself into finals. Essays on restorative justice now laced with personal thorns. Forgiveness isn't absolution, it's survival, professors praised. But the words tasted of ash. Matt's freelance dried up, gigs lost to holiday slumps. He sketched compulsively, dark vignettes of locked doors, fractured mirrors, selling a few at open mics. Catharsis, he'd say, but his eyes avoided Daniel's. Nights, they slept back to back, the space between a chasm widening with each unspoken what if. January's gray thawed nothing. A package arrived, Eleanor's books, shipped from Elmwood Storage. Vonnegut dog-eared, a journal tucked in Slaughterhouse 5. Her script filled pages. Recipes, regrets, a final entry. Daniel, if love betrays, love again. It's the only revolution. He read it aloud to Matt over mulled wine, voice cracking. She knew. Matt's hand found his. We rebuild. Rebuilding started small. Date night at the Green Mill, jazz saxophone weaving through cigarette haze. They danced, clumsy, laughing bodies remembering rhythm. Home, in the clawfoot tub shipped north at cost. Suds and sighs, Matt's fingers gentle on faded bruises. I love your fight, he murmured, entering slow, water sloshing. Daniel clung, release a gasp of grace. But Grace frayed. Valentine's brought Riley's card, cheeky. Miss the muse, tossed unopened. Then Jake's email. From a new address, alive. In therapy. Town knows now out and outcast. Your punch? Wake up. Attached. A photo. Jake at a Dayton support group. Arm around a silver-haired man. Smiles tentative. Daniel showed Matt, expecting scorn. Instead, a sigh. Progress. Poisoned well. Maybe cleaned. February's pride planning, early, defiant, pulled Daniel to panels. His story now legend in queer circles. A TEDx invite from Cleveland. From shed to spotlight. Rehearsals with Matt as audience. Feedback sharp. Lean into the vulnerability. On stage trial run. Lights hot. Daniel poured. The lock. The knife. The return. Applause crashed. Matt's hug after. Fierce. You're a force. Yet force faltered privately. A nightmare yanked Daniel awake. Jake's face morphing to Matt's. Betrayal's blade at his throat. He bolted to the fire escape. Chicago's lights a glittering scar. Matt followed. Blanket draped. Talk. It's you. The doubt. After Riley, Jake. I fear you'll leave when it's hard. Matt knelt, cold metal biting knees. I stayed through Ohio hell. I'm not running. Proof? He pulled a ring, simple silver band. Engraved rise. Eleanor's locket charm dangling. Marry me. Not now, but when ready. Tears froze on Daniel's cheeks. Yes, spring burgeoned. Cherry blossoms dusting Boys Town like confetti. Wedding whispers. Small. Lakeside. Just them and a officiant. But before vows, closure called. Elmwood, Daniel said one lilac-scented morn. One last trip. For her. For us. Matt nodded. No hesitation. Partners in haunting. The drive south was rebirth. Windows down. The Cure blasting. Cats crated in back. Ohio's fields greened. Billboards softer. More love wins than repent. Elmwood greeted changed. New coffee shop with rainbow mugs. High school banners touting inclusive excellence. The bungalow stood sentinel. Weeds tamed by a neighbor's mower. Inside, dust danced. They aired it out, painting walls sage, hanging Matt's art. Ours now, Daniel said, nailing a shelf. That night, on the porch swing, creak familiar, they made love under stars. Slow and sacred, Matt's vows whispered against skin. Forever starts here. Morning brought the school. Principal Fitch, retired but lingering, met them in the lobby, warmer now, post-scandal. Your work inspired changes. GSA Club, anti-bully training, tour, the shed's ghost lot paved, a plaque, in memory of Eleanor Hayes, unlocking futures, tears pricked. In the gym, echoes of old pains, Daniel spoke to empty bleachers. I return not for revenge, but release. Jake waited outside. Leaner, grayer therapy's toll. No truck. A Prius. Rainbow sticker peeling. Heard you were back. Beside him, the silver man, Tom, partner of 10 years. This is my anchor. Daniel hugged him, brief but real. Proud. Jake's eyes glistened. The group, lifesaver. And you, punch included, catalyst. A check. This time for the center. No strings. Matt shook his hand. Redemption suits you. They parted under maples shedding gold. A chapter closed. Back north. Wedding bloomed. June solstice. Michigan shore. Waves lapped Pebble Beach. Officiant a drag queen named Moxie in sequins and stole. Vows exchanged barefoot. Daniel's you unchained my heart. Matt's you rebuilt my home. Rings slipped on. Kiss sealed with salt spray. Honeymoon, the bungalow. Week of nothing but each other, fishing off the dock. Skinny dipping at dusk. Bodies oiled and eager under sun. Fall returned them changed. Daniel's TEDx went viral. Book deal whispers from publishers hungry for queer survivor tales. Matt's exhibit, Unchained, sold out at a gallery. Buyers tearing up at the shed sketch. Life synced. Mornings tangled. Evenings planning adoption dreams. A house with yard. But humanity's arc bends slow. December brought backlash. Elmwood holdouts picketing the center. Slurs spray-painted on the mural. Jake called, standing with you. Rally tomorrow. Daniel joined, megaphone in hand. Crowd swelling. Queers, allies, even Fitch. Chants rose. Love, not hate. Jake on the front line. Tom's hand in his. Media swarmed. Daniel's speech. We rise not despite the locks, but because we break them, aired nationwide. After, at the bungalow winterized now, their Pide Terra, Victory sex. Champagne slurred. Joyous. Matt inside him with triumphant thrusts. We won. Yet winds whisper warnings. January thawed secrets. Riley's suicide. Overdose. Notes citing unrequited ghosts. Matt crumpled reading the obit. Guilt's old knife twisting. I pushed him away. Daniel held him through sobs. You saved yourself. Honor him by living. Therapy followed, couples. Raw. Matt unpacking abandonment. Daniel forgiving fractures. Sessions ended in coffee shops. Hands linked. Laughter returning. Spring's renewal crested in surprise. Daniel's positive test. Adoption agency match. A boy from the center. Brace's kid grown to 17. Foster system weary. He chose us, Daniel told Matt. Papers trembling. Naming him? Elias. The Lord helps. Eleanor's nod. Summer's heat wave tested. Elias's arrival. Chaos of bunk beds and boundaries. Outings to Wrigley. Teaching him to sketch. Nights of three-way stories. Elias bloomed. Braces gleaming in grins. You guys? Heroes. But heroes falter. August storm downed lines. Power out. Elias asleep. Daniel and Matt on the couch. Candles guttering. Thunder rolled. And Matt confessed, Riley wasn't fake. That photo, real. Pre-proposal. Cleared air. One kiss, regret instant. Told the therapist, not you. Afraid it'd break us. Lightning cracked. Illuminating betrayal scar. Daniel's heart seized. When? Last fall. Ohio pull. I wavered. Silence thundered louder. You vowed truth. I know. Matt's voice small. Punish me? No. Daniel rose. Storm lashed. Love you. But trust? Shattered again. He slept in the guest room. Eleanor's old chaise, waves of hurt crashing. Dawn. Elias knocked. You fighting? Kid's eyes wide. Fear of loss stark. No. But. Just. Talking grown up. Matt apologized profusely, therapy solo now. Space given. Weeks stretched taut. Co-parenting polite. Intimacy absent. Elias bridged. His sketches of family forts melting ice. October's leaves fell like pardons. At the center's Harvest Fest, Elias debuted a mural extension, chains breaking into wings. Crowd cheered. Jake Skyped in. From Dayton. Beautiful. Kid. After. Under bonfire sparks. Matt knelt again. Second chance? I earned none. But beg. Daniel pulled him up. Kiss tentative. We earned together. Reunion was revelation. Bedroom dim. Elias at a sleepover. Bodies rediscovering. Matt's mouth worshipful. Daniel guiding. Pace building to crescendo. Forgiven. Matt gasped. Always. November elections, midterms blue wave mirrored mending. Daniel's book deal solidified. Unlocked. A Queer Ohio Odyssey. Signings buzzed. Matt's illustrations inside. Winter solstice. Anniversary eve. Lakeside cabin. Snow muffled. Elias with grandparents. They slow danced to Coltrane. Then tumbled to furs. Love languid. Profound. This, Daniel breathed. Matt deep within. Is home. But home holds horrors. December's chill delivered the call. Jake. Overdose pills. Intentional. Tom weeping. He left a note for you. Tell Daniel. I broke free too late. Love you. Brother. Grief gutted. Funeral in Elmwood packed. Queers and jocks mingled. Daniel eulogized. Jake chained us both. But in breaking, he freed us. Matt's arm steady. Elias clutching programs. Back north. Healing communal. Support group for Elias. Therapy for all. Spring's thaw brought blooms. Elias's first boyfriend. Awkward handholds Daniel championed. Summer's pride. Family float. Rainbows waving. Daniel, Matt, Elias trio unbreakable. Yet the arc bends toward light. Human and halting. Autumn's palette deepened as the Whitaker-Harrisons, new hyphen, post-legal settled into permanence. The Chicago apartment traded for a Logan Square row house. Gingerbread trim, backyard for Elias's easel, cats lording over sun porches. Daniel's book launched to acclaim. Unlocked climbing charts. Podcasts devouring his chapters on the cost of coming home. Tours pulled him east. Matt and Elias tagging for key stops. Elmwood signing. Lines snaking around the block. Daniel Whitaker, you changed my life. A woman whispered. Eleanor's former aide. Book clutched like scripture. Jake's sister hugged next. Eyes red. He'd be proud. Tom attended. Arm in arm with a new partner. Soft-spoken librarian. Tom's anchor renewed. He spoke of you till the end, Tom said. The brother he wished for. Daniel nodded. Throat tight. Me too. Back home. Fame's glow faded to routine. School runs for Elias, now 18. College apps looming. Matt's gallery shows. Daniel's center expansions, satellites in Dayton. Cleveland. Nights. They volunteered. Hotline shifts. Whispers guiding lost boys. Like Eleanor, Matt teased. But pride underpinned. Intimacy evolved, less fire, more ember. Lazy Sundays in sheets. Matt's fingers painting sigils on Daniel's back. Slow builds to shared size. Still sparks, Daniel murmured once, riding him languid, eyes locked in morning light. Elias noticed, grinning over pancakes. Gross, dads. But cute, dads. The word settled like dew. Winter's hush brought milestones. Elias's acceptance to Art Institute. Scholarship funded. Your stories got me here, he told them. Hug fierce. Graduation party sprawled backyard. Queer collective. Rainbow cake. Toast sloshing. Matt's speech. From sheds to studios. You're our masterpiece. Daniel's followed. Voice steady. Love isn't escape. It's return. Spring's vigor tested. Daniel's diagnosis. Early lymphoma. Caught routine scan. Shock rippled. MRIs. Chemo plans. Matt's vigil unyielding. We'll fight, he vowed. Shaving Daniel's head solidarity style. Both bald and beautiful. Elias rallied. Art therapy sessions sketched as warrior portraits. Community swarmed. Fundraisers. Meal trains. Jake's memory lingered in a donation. Harlan Fund for Queer Youth. Treatment blurred months, nausea nights. Matt's readings of Cat's Cradle. Elias's playlists of indie anthems. Remission whispered July 4th. Fireworks bursting like victory. Beach trip. Huron again. Waves healing. Daniel, scar-thinned but strong, proposed a vow renewal. To rising again. Matt's yes was instant. Fall's Equinox hosted it. Bungalow. Magnolia in bloom. Moxie officiated anew. Elias ring-bearer. Tom witness with his bow. Vows renewed. Daniel's through chains and chemo. You hold me. Matt's in every season. My north. Kiss under arches of wildflowers. Cheers echoing. Post-ceremony. Reception intimate barbecue. Bluegrass fiddling. Elias cornered Daniel. Scared me. But you? Unbreakable. Your turn soon. Kid. Who's the crush? Blush. Maybe. Guy from lit class Theo. Gay. Gamer. Kinda perfect. Bring him round. Holidays hummed. Thanksgiving at the row house. Tom's clan joining. Stories weaving tapestries. Christmas. Elias's gift. Mural for the center shed transformed to aviary. Wings unfurling. For all the locked ones. New Year's Eve. Countdown with champagne. Daniel and Matt slipped to the attic. Eleanor's trunk unearthed. Letters yellowed. One final. Daniel, if I haunt, it's with joy. Live for the unlived. They burned it in the fireplace. Ashes to wind. Winter waned gentle. Daniel's checkups clean. Spring's awakening. Elias and Theo official. Double date awkward charms at Pequod's Pizza. Laughter bridged generations. Summer's heat peaked with a call. Elmwood High. Invitation to keynote commencement. Your story. It's their future, Fitch's successor said. Daniel accepted. Family in tow. Drive south nostalgic. Bug packed. Cats crated. Theo's allergies be damned. Bungalow pit stop, porch swing sway. Ghosts friendly now. Commencement dawn. Gym packed. Banners bold. Daniel at podium. Lights warm. Elias in audience sketching. Matt's smile anchor. Class of 26. I was locked here once for loving a boy. Kind woman unlocked me. Years later, I returned not to rage, but to root. Stories flowed. Chicago loves. Ohio reckonings. Cancer's forge. Betrayal is the shadow to light. Wear it, but don't let it define. Jake's nod woven in. Even bullies can bloom late. Applause thundered. Caps arcing like comets. After handshakes, tears, the boy from years back, now man, out and proud, hugged him. You saved me, without knowing. Post-ceremony lunch at O'Malley's. Rebranded, Unlocked, Rainbow Neon. Jake's photo on the wall. Smiling with Tom. Plaque. In memory. Free at last. Beers clinked. Toasts to Eleanor. To Jake. Homeward. Sunset gilding fields. Elias from back. Proud. Dad. Daniel glanced at Matt. Hand on thigh. We all are. Chicago welcomed. Row house lights aglow. Life layered book 2 drafting. Matt's mural commissions. Elias's dorm move looming. August Eve. Empty nest ache. They wandered Boys Town. Hand in hand past Sidetrack. Where it sparked. Inside. Napkin sketch requested, bartender winking. Matt drew. 2 men. Older. Wiser. Encircled by wings. Us, Daniel said. Always. Fall's first frost nipped. But warmth endured. Thanksgiving, Theo integrated. Family expanding. Daniel's keynote clip viral, TED follow-up. Global ripples. Winter solstice. Anniversary. Lakeside cabin again. Snow globed. Elias Skyped vows. Theo blushing. In furs. Matt entered slow. To infinities. Release crested. Hearts synced. Spring's bloom. Elias's wedding small. Art-filled. Daniel walked him. Matt teary best man. Vows echoed theirs. Rise together. Summer's pride. Float grander. Elias and Theo waving beside. Daniel spoke impromptu. From locked to loved. This is America. Remade. Fall deepened wisdom. Daniel's 60th loomed. Reflections in unlocked sequel. Matt illustrated. Elias contributed forward. One eve. Porch swing, now Chicago's. Daniel slipped the locket to Elias. Your turn. Eyes wet. For my kids someday. Humanity's close. Not grand, but gathered. Row house dinner. Tom's clan. Theo's folks. Laughter loud. After. Matt and Daniel to bed. Touches familiar. Passion undimmed. Best life, Matt whispered. Deep within. Daniel arched. Hours. Dawn rose. Chains long dust. Love. The eternal unlock. In the end, return wasn't to place, but peace. And in peace, they thrived.